Good afternoon to you, or good morning, wherever you are. It is actually afternoon here. We are going to do a little bit of a houseplant update today over in the hothouse. And there's lots of things happen just in the space of a week or two actually, which we'll dive into in a little while. And I'm hoping to show you some things you've not seen before, show you some fantastic plants and what's been going on over in the hothouse and why it does seem to be infinitely better than having them in the greenhouse, even though the temperature is roughly the same. So let's jump in. And we are in. So we've got lots to talk about today. So it's a bit of a vlog style video. We're going to go through the plant collection and look at some updates and just see generally what's happening over in the hothouse. Now I've actually only had these plants over in here for a few weeks now, but I think in terms of actual growth speed of growth, of course it's really difficult to say for sure because other things are happening as well, like the light is improving, the day lengths are improving, the temperatures are improving, but there's no doubt that things are definitely coming on pretty quickly. And I'm sure that the bleed that I get from the grow lights over in the greenhouse is something to do with that, whereas over here I'm not quite getting that amount of bleed. In other words, the light isn't disappearing out of the windows, it's staying pretty much inside, reflected by these white walls. That's what I'm hoping anyway. It sure looks really bright when I've got the grow lights on, however I've got to turn them off. So here I am stood here with all these fantastic grow lights, and actually it looks pretty dark to my eyes, but as we know, the human eye does adjust to these things. So I will try and brighten things up a little bit when I come to do the editing of the video. So let's have a look at what's actually been going on in the hothouse. So I'm going to talk about these as houseplants, as I've mentioned in the past, because even when they were in the greenhouse at 17 degrees, I still referred to them as houseplants and thought of them as houseplants because the majority of these will grow in a house. So we're going to have a little tour around and see what's been going on and see if anything interesting springs to mind. Now you might have noticed that I had a little community post about one or two little troll comments that appeared. Actually, there was only one. One of them was just basically telling me that they hated Tradescantia with a passion. I didn't really see that as a troll. The other one, although they started it with respectfully and I love your videos, they then went on to completely trash them and tell me I'm losing my way. You know, look, I'm 53. I'm not of an opinion that this will completely ruin my life. I've been told more than one occasion negative comments, not only on YouTube, in real life. You know, that's what happens. You don't get to 53 and that not happen to you at some point or another. I take it in my stride. However, at the time, it was of a morning. I spent 10 hours making that video and putting it up. And of course, you don't always feel completely inclined to take these things on the chin. So I thought I'd just actually check with people just to see whether this was something that they did want to see. You know, what did they really want to see Tradescantia? Or was I actually fooling myself that the YouTube analytics were incorrect, even though they were telling me that lots of people actually love Tradescantia? I thought I'd just check and see, and of course 80% said that they did want me to carry on filming and growing Tradescantia. Of course I would grow them regardless. I would not let anybody else tell me what to grow. I grow whatever the heck I like, and I'm sure you all feel the same way. However, I just wanted to check. You know, it is a community as far as I see with YouTube, and it's a community that I've been very much enjoying over these past couple of years. It's a thriving community. It is almost 100% positive in my opinion. Compared to other communities, YouTube is just incredible in that it is almost always positive. Probably part of that is down to the fact that as a YouTube creator, I have more or less 100% control over what shows on that channel. I can completely delete somebody, I can block somebody, and nobody will be any the wiser other than that person then will not be able to comment. But why would they want to? You know, if they're so negative about it, why would they want to hang around? Why don't they just move on? And that was the consensus of opinion. You know, that was my opinion in the first place, and it seems to be the consensus of opinion among the people who actually answered the survey. You know, people just said, look, they jog on, don't they? If you don't like something, you move on. I subscribe to many channels and I don't watch every single video, I have to say. In fact, I probably watch very few videos of other people's, because I spend a lot of my time either working, I still work, I'm not retired, I still work full time, or looking after the plants, or planning, editing, filming videos. So let's get that out of the way. That's that done and dusted, hopefully. And I will continue to show plants like this. So this is my, and I know I've been through this before, it is actually a Tradescantia Maiden's Blush. Now, how can anybody say that's not nice? I think that is really nice. I don't know if you can pick up the glossiness of the leaves. And it's funny, I've got that on one of my other plants as well, which I didn't seem to get in the greenhouse. And I really don't know why. For the life of me, they've suddenly gone this kind of really glossy. And they don't only look glossy, they actually feel glossy as well. So this one was actually sold to me as the alternative Blushing Bride, which we've established now, thanks to Avery, that this is not Blushing Bride, it is actually Maiden's Blush. Blushing Bride was a mistake, a bit like Mandevilla dipladenia, a bit like geraniums and pelargoniums, and no doubt countless other plants. But that, at the moment, that is the best that it looks, and I know it will go downhill from here on in, but I know what to do about that. So let's just have a look at another one. I'm sorry to keep you on Tradescantia, it's just that while we're on the subject, so this is the Quadricolor, which is just stunning. I mean, look at the colours. I've even got a little bloom there, but this is another one. Look how the leaves have gone like all glossy. And like I say, they're glossy to the touch as well. They're really smooth. I'm not really sure why that's happened. That's never happened to me before. But yeah, the Quadricolor is definitely one that I would very much recommend if you're into these kind of things. This is one where the variegation is very stable. You can actually get fully green leaves, but if you then go and propagate that green leaf, it will variegate. You know, the forthcoming or subsequent leaves and shoots could be just as pink and glorious as all these colours that you've got on there. That is just beautiful, even underneath. I love that plant. Okay, we'll not just focus on Tradescantia, obviously. So I know you may have seen this before. This just keeps coming and coming. This beautiful little phal here, and it really does enjoy my conditions. So this is Goldstaff, Long Pride Goldstaff, thanks to Michael. Really nice thing. I'll tell you what, it is something that's new to me anyway. So I know people will be sitting here thinking, well, I've been doing this for years. Well, that's fine, I'm sure you have. However, totally changed my life. A sprayer. Wow, gosh, what a novel idea. So what I've been doing here with this sprayer, pump action sprayer, I bought a couple of them, and in there I've got rainwater with orchid feed on, probably about 250 parts per million. And what I'm actually doing now is, of course, spraying all the mounts, which has turned out to be like, it's overcome that obstacle of, oh God, I've got to take all the mounts down and dump them in a bucket. It's just so much easier just to spray them in situ. So I'm hoping I might actually get a bloom on this guy over here, this Vanda. I think I have a name for it, I'm not quite sure. Oh yes, it's that long since I've looked at it. Vanda Hybrids, Propathon Gold, Propathon Gold. It's a beautiful bloom and I've looked it up, but I've still never actually seen it in real life yet. Still loads of growth coming on my Tolumnias. Those two haven't produced a spike yet, but there's one over there which I'm going to show you in a minute. Orchids, I've been still spraying them with this sprayer down here, but the plan is now, and I know this is about my third or fourth version of how I'm going to water them. The plan is now that if I just spray the top, they're not going to get so saturated that they actually begin to rot. But it gets to those roots, because usually the new roots are always near the base of the canes, aren't they? So hopefully it'll get to that. That's my latest little fad. Let's see if that works. I've got loads of these little yellow things. These are an attempt to get rid of my fungus gnat problem at the moment. I have actually watered everything with a chemical, but you might have a boy and girl fungus gnat floating around in the air, doing their thing and then going laying eggs after I've actually put the chemical in. So I'm putting loads of these in to try and reduce numbers. I'm not actually that worried. It's not my house. I don't mind a few little fungus gnats flying about. It's all for the better. In fact, we've even got a ladybird up there and a spider as I speak, which can help themselves to all the fungus gnats. So what else have we got here? This philodendron pink princess, looking reasonable at the moment. I'm hoping, because that's a new leaf there, I'm hoping that that is happy where it is. The Maranta lemon and lime does actually seem to be happy, because we've had one new leaf already and with another one coming there. This is a new one. This is an alocasia. This is from my friend Ian from the Orchid Society, and he very kindly gave me this. So if you are watching, Ian, you can let me know if there's anything you want of mine, maybe some streptocarpus. I've got plenty of those. Oh, something looks like it's been having a go at that. I don't know whether that was already like that when it arrived. I cannot remember. I'll have to keep my eye on that. I'll have to come in when it's dark. It's obviously an alocasia. I don't know which one. I think Amazonica. Lovely again, Hijabaru. So this is one of those that actually has been given PGRs. Talking about PGRs, these are chemicals that are given to plants, especially Tradescantia, to produce some kind of beneficial effect. So it might be, as is in the case of the Maiden's blush, you get this beautiful pink and cream and white at a certain point in the year. That is chemically induced. They've actually changed the genetics of it in order to produce that. And then it will carry on doing that at this time every year, regardless. It is stable, but it is chemically induced. PGRs, on the other hand, tend to do something in terms of, again, you know, something to do with the aesthetics of it, maybe something to do with the growth speed of it. A lot of them are to slow them down, but very often it is actually a temporary thing. Now, I do have mixed feelings about that. I really wish they'd put a warning on it so that you would know that that's what happens. I've no actual argument with them doing it, because it's not really any different than doing it with a bunch of flowers where you get them to last a little bit longer. We know it's a temporary effect, and some people, if they know that's what it's all about, will be quite happy to buy something and for it to do that, whatever that beneficial thing is, for however long that time is, and you know, they'll throw it away. They're quite happy for that to happen. But if you don't know and you go and buy something and you expect it to grow in a certain way and then it doesn't grow in that particular way, then you can kind of feel like you've been scammed. I did read something or watch something about philodendron, not actually pink princess. Pink princess, I think, is supposedly stable. I think it was one called philodendron pink Congo, something like that. And people said it was a scam. It had this beautiful pink on it, and it didn't actually last. It all turned to just plain green leaves over time, and you were left with a plant with no pink in it. Again, is it a scam? Well, I don't really think it is. I think that's something that people just have to get that information out there, that that's what it does, just so that you know. Some people might be happy with it being pink just for a short length of time. You know, I'm just looking around here. I'm getting distracted by what I can see here. I don't know if you can see it. These are spider mites. Can you see? I can actually see them. Now, somebody swore to me you can't see spider mites, but I can definitely see those right near my finger. And what the heck they're doing on where the heck they're from, I don't know. I'm going to have to get the spray bottle out and we're going to have to spray them. I know they generally like drier conditions, and it's not. It's very, very humid in here. But I'm just looking again around here. I think they're on this. I think I can see them over there on there. And again, this plumeria is something that does periodically get these things, and they do come back. So I'm gonna have to spray the whole thing along here. I'll have to spray them all. Talking about spraying, it doesn't always work in your favour. I did spray that one, the Thunbergia, and it worked. It's beginning to bloom again. And because you get these like really, they look like almost like they're chlorotic, but it's the spider mite that's doing that. And within a week of spraying it, I get more of the dark green leaves again. So I know that's the cause of it because I've experienced it loads of times. Unfortunately, when other plants catch some of that chemical, especially the systemics, you can end up with this kind of thing. So this is a begonia. So this is my Begonia Connie Boswell. This is the best it's actually looked. It's looking really good. 2 degrees made all the difference, from 15 up to 17, and that's all it needed to really get some proper growth in. At 15 degrees, it completely stalls, but at 17 degrees, it's away again. So you can see a couple of distorted leaves and deformed leaves there. So there's actually 3 there. I could cut them off, and I probably will do at some point, but you generally find that once it's kind of got it out of its system, they then begin to come normally. Same thing happens with cyclamen. If you do spray them with a systemic. And there's a few plants actually that you can actually spray with systemics, like Brugmansia. Again, it really makes them deform, it makes them pucker. So again, you've got to think about that carefully before you go through it. So I'm glad I've done this because I've spotted the spider mite. So let us see what else we've got to look at down here. So this is my Anthurium crystallinum. So again, I am crossing everything that these 2 leaves are not the only 2 that I see. We've got a little bit of a growth there, but I've had that a while now, so I'm hoping that really begins to come for me. I actually potted all my anthuriums and I've not got that many, my anthuriums and philodendrons up, and I just did it in a general purpose compost, because at that point, I didn't have time to go looking it up. When I looked it up, I found that isn't really the kind of media that you should have them in. They need to be a little bit more well drained than that. So I've put them in like a mix of, I think it's like chunky bark, I've got some chunky coconut husk in there, I've got some perlite in there, I've got a little bit of multi-purpose compost as well to try and make it a little bit more well draining. Callisia rosato, Callisia repens rosato, again, I'm not sure whether that's reverting or not. It does seem to be losing the pink, so I might have to cut those off. I've already cut a few of them off. Now, I did a reel about this on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, have a look in the description and you'll be able to go and find me over there. I don't always post loads of stuff, but I tend to have like spurts of posting things. So this has just gone huge. And somebody asked me actually on Instagram, was it, would it be all right in a hanging basket, or how am I growing it? And basically, this is actually a cane begonia. So initially, my answer to it was, oh, it's a rhizomatous one. I was thinking it was a creeping rhizome, but when I looked it up, I recalled that it's not. It's actually a cane type begonia, and it will grow upright if you give it some support, but I've just let it flop over and grow horizontally. So now the thing is crawling all over the place. It needs that support at the side to prevent it flopping. I expect if you did it in a basket, it would actually snap. There's quite a bit of weight in that. I saw them at Kew actually, and they were growing them similar to this, but like as a ground cover plant. So they do grow like and creep along the ground, or you can grow them upright, of course, as like a cane type begonia. So over here we have, this is Fireworks. So again, this is one of my new ones. It always amazes me how quick these begin to come. So that one is actually one of the slower ones out of my new begonias. So let's move on over and see what else we've got over here. Very, very close to my mind at the moment is these little spider mite over here that seem to be eating the shelving at the moment. So we'll have to spray that. I don't think systemics are going to get into the shelving, do you? We'll have to see. So, okay, what else have we got that's really interesting to look at? So these are my cuttings from my Mandevilla. You can see they're looking really good, and I expect they'll take a while to get going. The last ones I did in the greenhouse were probably about 18 months before they started to vine. I will very soon anyway begin to split these, because I don't really want them all in the same pot. Because once they kind of get all entwined with each other, it becomes really difficult to separate them. So my Zygopetalum, again, seems to be doing much better over here. I've got this new growth on here, which again, it's not looking absolutely brilliant. I don't think it's going to bloom, but at least I think I've saved it. So that little sprayer just prevents me from letting that top dry out, and the main roots are going to be up there. So let's have a look at some more begonias. So this one we talked about on one of the last videos. So this is a really, really long name, Ceratipitella. Ceratipitala. It is actually a species, a Begonia species, and you can see, I don't know if you can actually see, it does have pink spots on it. It's difficult to see in this light. It might be actually easier on camera, but that is going to be really good. The fact that it's a species doesn't worry me one little bit. I'm quite sure it's going to do really well, as all begonias seem to have. The black fang, again, it was a tiny little cluster when it arrived. It's beginning to grow, and that hopefully is going to look spectacular once I get those like yellow centres. I'm sure you saw some of the photographs and images that I put up, and it really did look brilliant. So I can't wait for that to get going. So moving along, what else have we got? Somebody mentioned to me that this Tradescantia, I've got it as multicolour discolor. And I think they said mine was more of a discolor, but when I looked it up, and again, this is one of those things, I don't know how true it is, this is what I saw. It said that if you've got a Tradescantia multicolour discolor, eventually it will revert to a Tradescantia discolor. So they all end up as Tradescantia discolor. Look at the colour, talking about colour, on this begonia. So this one is Begonia Candy Queen, of course it is. Had to be candy with that. That is just very, very pink. That is lovely. That's going to be really nice. Here's a little bit of a conundrum. So if you've got a monstera like this, so let's talk aroids. I'm very new to aroids. I've not spent a lot of time looking them up. But I have, of course, looked up to find out what the media is. And the media that they prefer is, like I was talking about a minute ago with the philodendron, pretty well-drained mix, you know, more well-drained than just a multi-purpose compost on its own. Why then do they grow so well in sphagnum moss? Is it that sphagnum moss allows more of the air in there? I don't know, because you'd think sphagnum moss, with it being wet all the time, will be likely to rot the roots. I really must have a look at this one actually to see whether the roots are still as good as they were when they arrived. So that's my albo variegata. I have another albo variegata, but this one has a new leaf on it, not a new root. Look at that, it's almost half moon. So I guess I would not try to propagate that because there's hardly any chlorophyll in that, but it's nice to know that we've at least got a new leaf on it, which is always a good sign, isn't it? So moving along, a new one for me, another philodendron. So this one is melanochrysum, can't say it, melanochrysum, philodendron melanochrysum. So this one is also in sphagnum moss, and I'm really, really hoping this one survives and begins to thrive. Very, very velvety leaf. I actually got this because the one I really wanted was the Warraquianum, the queen anthurium. And this looked, you know, in its mature state with a big long leaf, this actually looked the most similar I could get to it. And believe it or not, I think that was about £55 just for that one leaf. It did have some roots on, however, which is always a good sign, isn't it? My Syngonium albo variegata, or Syngonium albo variegata, looking fabulous. Loads of new leaves on that, so I'm very happy that that's okay and that's happy in here. I do believe it's a climber, so at some point I'm going to have to do something about that and give it something to climb up. My Begonia mazae F. nigricans, looking fabulous at the moment with these really black leaves and like the lime green in the middle, and you can actually see them there with the window in the background really kind of lighting up like little spotlights in the middle. I did lose a lot of leaves over winter with the lower temperatures, but that one is now looking spectacular. Love it, love it, love it. And another begonia. So we're all begonias today. So this one is, can't remember again, what a surprise. Green gecko. So this has put like a dozen leaves on in the last few weeks. And I love these hairy bits at the bottom there. Absolutely gorgeous. That really is spectacular plant. How can you not love these? I would have these all over the house if I could actually get them away from my little puppy. Well, he's not a puppy anymore actually, he's nearly 2. Curly fire flush, yeah, that seems to be about to bloom. So I've got another Tolumnia here, about to get a bloom. That's my very first bloom that will be on my Tolumnia. So what else is there worth looking at the moment? Another begonia down here. That's looking nice, silver lace, doesn't seem to mind the dark because it is actually quite in the dark down there. You can see how those leaves are stretching over. I might have to move it a little bit. What else have we got? Callisia out in bloom now. So this isn't anywhere near the best this has looked because I did chop it right back. But there's loads and loads of buds on it, all over it, and it will look better. But I mean, yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? Really sweet. And I have got a few more pots. If you saw the new houseplant unboxing, a few more pots of little caterpillars because that's what they look like, which will be coming into bloom very soon. The first time my Brassia, so this one is Brassia Orange Delight, first time it's actually produced 2 spikes at the same time, so it must like my conditions. Somebody did ask me actually, how do you care for these? Well, I said, this is actually one of the very few orchids that's done well for me, so it should, you know, if you live in a similar climate, it should do well for you too. And I have seen them a few times at the orchid show, so they can't be that difficult. I've basically just got it in bark, that's all I've got it in, and it does really suck the water up. I've got lots of holes in there for like aeration. I just water it when it's dry, and that's pretty much it. It's never in the sun, but it's in a bright spot. As far as temperature goes, I keep it over 15 degrees. I did find that it suffered a bit when it was below that, so I would say it really needs to be more of a warm grower. My Callisia oh, I can't even say it. Whatever it is, it's a dragon's tail. And this one is actually the variegated one. There is a non-variegated one that somebody pointed out, which just looks rubbish. So let's move on. Still got blooms on this. So this orchid is another species orchid, Leliaranceps. That one there is dying off, and I'm happy to say there's another new growth coming on that, which is just wonderful. Another philodendron. So this is verrucosum, is it? Verrucosum. And again, this was a little gift from somebody, and you can see it's got a new shoot there, so I'm hoping that really does begin to grow soon. Another syngonium there from Smar. So I'm hoping when these big leaves, you know, really start to take off, because the leaves are going to be much bigger, I'm hoping I manage to find some space in here to put them, because it would be such a shame, you know, you build this jungly effect and you've nowhere to put them. We'll just have to see how that goes. This down here, so this is my Hoya Wilbur Graves, which I love that leaf, and I had a look at it and it has got roots on it. A few little roots on this other one over here, Piper sylvaticum. This one, I mean, I've had a lid on that one to kind of increase humidity. I can't remember why I took it off and I forgot to put it on. Florida Ghost, although, you know, I know loads of people love Florida Ghost. I'm not that fussed with it, to be honest. Orchids are doing much better in here than they did in the greenhouse already. I mean, look, I have buds, loads of buds, never had those before. So yeah, I mean, obviously they're going to get more light because there's no shading on. I've not got the bubble wrap on, so that really should help, shouldn't it? And I think the way I'm watering them now, hopefully, I'm crossing everything here, I'm crossing my fingers, hopefully that will lead to better plants. They won't dry out. I mean, you can see already, look, there's new growth there, there's new roots there, there's new shoots there, and my super duper spraying hopefully will get to those, whereas it might not have done in the past. We'll see. All my violets, African violets, St. Paulias, doing much better here because of course they're getting more light. Another bloom coming there. Okay, I think we've covered more or less everything, and of course you can see my Begonia luxurians. I keep cutting blooms off because a lot of the flowers now are falling all over the floor. So that's the growth that's going on in the hothouse at the moment, and no doubt as spring progresses it will improve. So the thing is, I love to show things and talk about things that people are interested in, and you think I'm going to point you to another video. I'm not in this particular case. I would like you to write in the comments. I want to know, what do you want to see next? No, I've not run out of ideas. I've got loads of ideas. I've got pages of them, but I really want to know what the community thinks, what my particular community thinks. Can you tell me in the comments, what are you into? Do you love orchids? Is there a specific orchid that you're into? Is there something to do with houseplants that you want to talk about, you want a video made? Is there something specific about growth? field. I can't say I'm going to give you the answer to everything, but it's certainly worth exploring, for me to explore, for you to explore, and for us to explore as a community. So that's what the task is for today. Have a think, write it in the comments. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it or you found any of it remotely interesting. It really, really helps the channel to continue to grow. And for now, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.